Blog Talk Radio.
Strength and song, shout for victory. Then more Blue Room.
Hear, O Israel, the Most High, our power is one. For those that have ears, let them hear. Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akham. Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akham. Praise the Most High for this very golden moment. I thank Him for keeping my eyes open when the enemy blinds and tries hard to close them. Even though my heritage is stolen, I'm holding on to the word of the truth. It's about that time for us to wake up the youth so they can realize what these false people do. Keep the Most High in your mind, He guides you. Praise the Most High, cause there's no one else above Him. Keep His 10 commandments and laws if you love Him. Doing what you know is right in the name of Christ. Living in the Spirit, the Holy Ghost life. No longer in the flesh, my robe is all white. Temptation's trying to take me, yeah right. Brothers and sisters, the time draws near, so for those that have ears, please let them hear. Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akhar. Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akhar. But an angel's voice from heaven had the gospel that was preached, and they wouldn't harm the earth until they gathered all the sheep. They wouldn't harm the earth until His children should be sealed. And that wicked one, Satan, Prince of Darkness, is revealed. The truth is from the Father, His will is that we teach, that His people in the earth that were scattered and called least are the people of the Bible. They are kings and they are priests. Through the promises of Abraham, a land is what we see. Israel. It's a shame, my thoughts so cloudy in the words of the rain. We're thirsty for the water, the truth is eternal, but the lies much shorter. You can't play both sides, you gotta cross the border. Take my hand and we'll walk to the water. Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, so we gotta spread this truth to the poor and the meek. Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akhar. 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 Shemaya, Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya, Nawa, Ahaya, Akhar.
Shema Yasharala Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Shema Yasharala Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Shema Yasharala Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya
Okay, shalom, everybody. This is Brother Gabal. We are working on behind the scenes. We're having some technical difficulties. We apologize for that. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Shemai Yashirallah Ahaya Alahayanawa Ahaya Shema Yashirallah Ahaya Alahayanawa Ahaya Shema Yashirallah Ahaya Alahayanawa Ahaya
We're bringing the treasures of the earth
to the people of the world.
Amenez les trésors de la terre au peuple du monde.
This is your day to shine, your time to win. So raise your cup and drink.
Hii coffee ni nzuri sana, kwa hivyo tunatakikana kukunywa, alafu tunasaidia dunia yote,
Traendo los tesoros de la tierra a la gente del mundo.
Whether it's latte, mocha, the king of coffee, or our delicious teas, you'll soon see what all the buzz is about in more than 30 countries worldwide. Organo Gold gives you 200 nutrients in every cup. It's silky smooth and delicious, without the jitters. Drink the healthier coffee. Visit our site today at oneincreasecoffee.organogold.com. That's the number 1, increasecoffee.organogold.com. Kwam Yasharala.
Shalom, everyone, and welcome again to Restoring the Daughters of Zion, GOCC's first women's show, designed with you in mind. I'm your host, Sister Shirley, and Sister Carol. Let me bring Carol in so she can say hello to the listening audience. Carol, are you there?
Hi, yes, shalom.
And we have Sister Cherie working in the background in the studio. Sister Cherie, are you there?
Yes, shalom everyone. Shalom, sister.
Shalom. Welcome, welcome. Okay, we've got, again, a really great show lined up for you. And we're going to just jump right into it. Certainly before we go into the show, we just want to ask the Most High to be with us as we come before his presence. Sister Carol, you want to bring us before the Most High in prayer?
Okay. Gracious Eternal Father, Father, we stand humbly before Thee, asking You to bless the words that come across this radio station, that we lead no one in the wrong direction. You said, he who wins souls is wise. Father, help us to be wise tonight. We're asking that our show brings edification to the body and helps to, as the name says it, restore the daughter of Zion.
Thank you, Father.
In the name of the Shia. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so we want to pick up from where we left off last Sabbath and just kind of, last show, where we're talking about making the Sabbath a delight. We just want to kind of put some closure to that before we move on, okay? And so on our last show, we discussed how we were trying to keep the Sabbath rather than it being a delight, it can become a burden to us. And so we talked about how the Sabbath arrives and we find ourselves either in a panic to complete chores and responsibilities, like not having enough food in the home to provide for the family, or having to wash and iron clothes for ourselves and our children, technically really working on the Sabbath. This sometimes granulates into verbal struggles, where we're yelling at each other, because we can't get ready on time, and other forms of unprofitable behavior associated with our failures. So in our attempt to not defile the Sabbath all day, dinner is either then we go order it out, or we purchase some typical fast food from the Chinese restaurant. We figure maybe they're not working, but okay. If not, a meal is, one of those deluxe meals are thrown together in a rush to shut down and stop cooking on the Sabbath. That's our next best call. So as we were in our last show, we agreed that this is not the feast the Most High has ordained, because the Sabbath is a feast day. Okay? We touched on chores being left off or half done, causing further problems, like our husbands not being able to wear that fringed tunic, the one we sat and made at our sewing machine. Anyway, because somehow the dryer didn't completely dry the clothes, when we threw the softener sheet in, we left the dryer half open. We finally make it to our cars and, only to find what? Our gas tank is on E, forcing us to head to the gas station and purchase gas on the Sabbath. I know somebody out there can relate to this, because I get caught up in these struggles every now and then just because of poor planning. As we reach for our credit cards and, we catch a glimpse of that grace card we have in our pocket right along with it, thinking, okay, thanks for grace and mercy that the Most High ushered in, so now we can kind of still hold our heads up high and, head to Sabbath class. So as the world would have it, of course, the traffic is going to get us too. So we're late again, Bullwinkle. We're just plain late. We agreed that this, too, is not much of a delight, is it? It's just not.
It's not.
We learned that some of us have no way, no elders that are even close to us that we can fellowship with. When I'm thinking about some of the sisters that don't come to class on the Sabbath, or we have decided in our frustration we will surrender to the madness and embrace the command to rest, So, okay, so we can't get ready, guess what? We'll just rest. We'll just put our feet up. We're in our PJs, and we're not even in a position to come before the Most High. We kind of throw on the computer, lay back in our easy chair, and wait for the sound of Elder's voice. So sometimes you think about it, we may not even be grabbing our Bibles, Elder will start reading the scripture references, and so why do we need to pull out our Bibles? We're home, we're behind our computers, who's looking? When you think about it, is this the way that we're supposed to honor the Sabbath? Hey, no need to, set up anything. There's no one watching. So we let the kids eat cereal or play in their rooms. The husbands can grab some toast and juice. After all, we're not supposed to be cooking. And maybe we'll have a chat on the phone until the program, until it begins. And I know this is what we sometimes think about. Don't you find yourself in that position every now and then, Carol, where you're just not putting the Sabbath where it belongs, okay?
Absolutely. Just keep refreshing the screen and wait for the elders to come on. Okay, I didn't miss it. All right, keep it going. Even sometimes we figure, well, maybe we can chat with, I can give Carol a call or give somebody a call and get some chai tea, going on. And, oh, God bless the Sabbath.
You know, we sometimes find that we might have even missed a portion of the class because in so much comfort you're going to fall asleep, you know. But is this the rest that the Father was talking about? And we can't do much better in our captivity. We tell ourselves that. Anyway, you know, we can say, okay, we can listen to the recorded session. And although, you know, we do not have a chance to touch on, you know, every scenario that happens, a lot of things like this happen during the Sabbath that we want to stray away from, you know, because this may have been a delight to us, but it's not for the Most High. Not the one the Most High is referring to in Isaiah 58, making the Sabbath delight. Are we keeping it holy, set apart? Or what are we doing here? Are we resting? And, you know, basically that's what we just want to kind of go a little bit from there. You know what I'm saying, Carol?
Absolutely, and you know, you touched on something very interesting when you mentioned the part about the television. I mean, the computer, and as we sit and watch it. Something that I found that it may be a good idea to get an HDMI cable and connect your computer to a large screen television, and it really enhances the viewing time because many of us do not have the ability to get to a local congregation due to the fact that GOCC is not ubiquitous. There is not a local congregation in every city. So we're struggling to come together as a group. What I suggested, that I do in my home is I put that large television up. I invite people, the family, to come in and sit in the living room, and we sit back and we watch it together as a family. And it's a funny thing. It's much better than watching it on the computer screen.
Yeah.
It's like watching television, and we all know how to do that, don't we? So I wanted to bring that in while you had that as a point. And also, and one more thing I wanted to mention is people who are by themselves might want to utilize Skype with a friend and do their Sabbath together, because it's a good thing for when 2 or 3 are gathered together, I'm in the midst.
Yes.
So
yes.
It helps. So
yes.
We were thinking of how can we make the Sabbath a delight? How do we assure that we have a holy convocation and a feast unto the Lord? And also how can we prepare? In our discussion last week, many of the sisters mentioned a lot of good things, so we compiled a list of ways to create some traditions for this day of rest to help us get back in sync. So I'm going to share that because not everyone caught last week's program, which was such a blessing, and show how we can make a delight as the Most High commanded us.
Mm-hmm.
How can we prepare for the Sabbath? We need mental preparation to begin for the Sabbath week. And we should consider all the things you need to do to make the Sabbath day a delight and keep it holy at the same time. Like the Most High told us in Exodus 20 rather than 9. He said, 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. And our ancestors kind of showed us how to do that. Also in Luke 23 and 54, it says, and that day was the preparation day as the Sabbath drew on.
Yeah. Did I cut you off, Carol? I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
No, not at all. You can continue.
Okay, super. And you know what? I thought about when we talk about our homes, as custodians of our home, we need to keep them tidy and in order. I was looking at this scripture to consider, and that's in Numbers 24, 5, and 6. And forgive me, but I used the New Living Translation because I just kind of thought it brought out what I was trying to bring. And it says, how beautiful are your tents, O Jacob. How lovely are your homes, O Israel. They spread before me like palm groves, like gardens by the riverside. They are like tall trees planted by the Lord, like cedars beside the waters. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
Are our homes a reflection of that? Because guess what, ladies? Our homes are a representation of our obedience to the commands of the Most High. You know, is that a oops for you? You know, because our homes, Titus 2 and 4 talks about, concerning women. In verse 5, it says, chaste keepers at home. So since we need to keep our homes in order, what a better time to make it special than on the Sabbath?
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Charles. You're absolutely right. And with that in mind about keeping it special, so let's see if we can make sure everything is ready and fresh when the Sabbath arrives. So when should we begin? What do you think? You think Sunday is a good day? Sunday might be a good day to start thoughtfully laying out the plans for the Sabbath.
Man.
Remember last week I said it, but I said it wrong, Smiley Pants. If we don't make a plan, we plan to fail. So on Sunday afternoon, let's start thinking about what we want to serve, how we want to serve the Sabbath dinner, and plan that meal. For those of you that don't have husbands, children, or family members to share the Sabbath with, consider who you can invite over. And it's a good plan to invite guests. Even if you have participating family members, it's still good to share. Hospitality is very important for the Sisters of Zion. If you know of fellow Israelites that don't have family members to share the Sabbath with, by all means, invite them over. Extend the invitation on Sunday so you can properly prepare. And if you cannot get an answer, prepare anyway. Shirley.
We like...
Go ahead.
I was just saying we like that last-minute answer. I'm not coming.
As you mentioned last time, we should think about the discussions you want to have over dinner that might be interesting to everyone and God-glorifying at the same time. So important to keep the children engaged. We want them to fall in love with the Sabbath. So there are young children in your home, or if there's young children in your home or you're attending Sabbath dinner, don't forget to include topics of interest for them. Make it very special. Like for example, some things I was thinking about, and I did mention something, I'm going to be a little embarrassed when I do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. One thing we were saying, have the children put on little biblical skits for the Sabbath. You can have them recite Bible verses that they memorize. Let them dress up in biblical attire, and the parents can join in. You can also let the children run the agenda. You can say, what's next, sweetie? Put some Hebrew words on flashcards and see who knows the translation. Now, here's the part I'm embarrassed about. I was thinking of a song that you could teach the children. I love to play games with kids and teach my grandchildren. And I thought of the song, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. And I know it has nothing to do with the Word of God, but I thought of 1 little, 2 little, 3 commandments, 4 little, 5 little, 6 commandments, 7 little, 8, well, I know. Then you can say, first commandment, we honor the Father, something like that. So anyway, you got it. So embarrassed. I feel like I'm like, but
no, I think it's good.
When I was listening to one of the sisters in the church, and she was talking about how she taught her daughter, who's like 6 or 7, and she knows all of the commandments, and I struggle and have to turn, what is Exodus, to get those commandments out, and she knows them by heart because she used word associations. So when you hear this, you do that, and blah, blah, blah. And, I was trying my best to think of ways to engage children, and I know songs pull us right in.
Yes, that's so important. I was speaking to Elder Gabar, and, about him, the elders, coming up with the idea to give us a portion of Scripture that we all need to read on the Sabbath together. Now, it may not necessarily be for the class coming up, but it might be. But nonetheless, just think of how powerful it would be if we're all reading the same Scripture on
that's
the
power.
Sabbath. It is.
Around the world, internationally, that's power.
Yeah. And for those of you, or for those of you that are not married, or your husbands are not available, or have not yet made their commitment to the Most High. We say not yet because, the Most High is working with us, right, sisters? And, he is. And until the Most High sees fit to make a change, we need to stand in the gap and choose a biblical section of interest for Sabbath reading. Think of some wonderful songs, too, to present as a sacrifice of praise. We bring the sacrifice of praise to the Most High. It may be a little difficult to choose, what your spirit will be moved to present to the Most High, because I was thinking, okay, we could put together a list of songs that we sing every Sabbath. That might be nice, but sometimes the Spirit guides you in a different direction. I kind of told you guys last time that when my husband would walk in that front door, as soon as he got in there, I had the whole little setup laid out and ready. I slapped that yarmulke on his head, and we'd get started,
It's just, I can just picture you slapping that yarmulke up there.
Oh my goodness, it was interesting. That's all I can tell you. But you know what? It's a beautiful thing when we make our homes a godly home, because it's so important that we do set the temperature in our home, and welcome our husbands home to a godly atmosphere, godly, clean. When your husband walks in that door, it's so very necessary. And being prepared might sound boring, but being unprepared is, guess what? It's so unlike the Most High. You know what I mean? Because in 1 Corinthians, I'm sorry, go ahead, Carol.
No. I butted in. Go on.
1 Corinthians, I think it's 14 and 33. The Most High is not the author of confusion. So we need to make sure that, we don't have that going on, okay? So let all things be done decently in order. We all know that scripture too, So, and those of you that have been blessed with the gift of music, why not a nice song that we can learn and bring forth on the Sabbath? Someone can create something for us, it doesn't have to be a long song. It could be a few lines. I know there's some talented people out there. A sister sent me a text message today. She's a music producer, and I can't wait to get, some of her songs. I listened to one. It was beautiful. I also received a song from Sister Tracy and Brother Corey, but, I sent it to Elder, but he didn't get it, so I'm sure that was part of my, faux pas that I do. But anyway, I'm working on that, So it's consider this. It would be wonderful to just include the Shema as our opening song to welcome the Sabbath. So like when the sun goes down, we join together, whoever's in the house, even if it's just you, go to our knees and just sing the Shema to the Most High. In Hebrew, if we know it, if not, we learn it, okay? Imagine all of us singing the Shema in Hebrew as soon as the Sabbath began. Even if it was minutes later, another place will be coming in like, how you say that? Is it in rounds or in unison?
Yeah, it's like rounds, almost it's rounds.
Yeah. Shema, it could be really beautiful. Okay.
That is awesome. And, it's a funny thing about order. You actually begin to love order once there is order. For example, when you would go to church on the Sunday church, there was a program listed, and you knew what order to follow. And if someone went out of order, you almost looked like, what are you doing? This is the way we do things. We welcome the guests. We do this. This is the benediction. Could you imagine if the benediction was done
oh my goodness.
in the beginning of the program? So we will begin to honor, and family members will know. As a matter of fact, we were talking about when you went to a Catholic funeral the other day, and I've gone to one before too, and you notice how they know exactly when to say what those special lines that they say. They know when to sit and kneel, and it's like a memo went out.
I'm telling you, because someone passed away in my office, and, as manager in my office, I had to go to the funeral. So of course, I wanted to bid, to give honor where honor was due also. And so I went, and all of a sudden a bell rung, and everybody just stood up, and I'm like, well, what happened, And it's just like I said, everything was in order. It was, now, truly, when I walked in there, it was a little scary because there were idols all over the place, but
and candles and the whole 9 yards.
Candles everywhere. And then when he began slinging this stuff in this little bowl and instance, me, I'm going through something here, this detox that I'm going through, and all of a sudden, and I mean the place was graveyard silent, and I started coughing and carrying on so loud that, I had to be ushered out of there. But anyway, I'm sorry how I even got on that. Go ahead, Carol.
How do you say it? I digress, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we came up with four main steps. The first one is getting the house in order, because our spouses love clean houses, and what a wonderful way to show them how we love and respect them, and we respect the Sabbath, how it should be exceptionally clean to welcome in the Sabbath. Make your husband and your children feel special. Start preparing on Monday if you can. If you usually arrive home too close to the Sabbath, rise up early Friday morning to apply the final touches. Make your home look like you are expecting your in-laws. Fresh linens on the bed. This is all, all of this will come in time. Find something that will add like a nice fragrance. Some people buy fresh flowers for the Sabbath day. Bring that home and put that in. And that makes especially, some of them, the hydrangea. Is it the hydrangeas? I just know there's one particular flower that just makes the whole front of the house smell wonderful.
Oh, those are lilacs for sure, but...
that's my favorite flower. And even if you're alone, fresh fragrances are wonderful. Wax the floors if you can. Find a place to put all the clutter. Fresh cut grass. Oh, that's a wonderful fragrance.
Yes, it is.
In the morning, hose down the sidewalks. Now, these are things for people that live in houses. But if you're in an apartment building, put out a Sabbath doormat. That's kind of nice. And lighting is so important for ambiance. If you don't have anything, you might consider purchasing dimmers that you can plug in the lamps and adjust the light so it has that soft glow, and make sure the bathrooms are spotless and the trash definitely isn't carried out, because we don't want to carry a burden on the Sabbath.
Yeah, and I mean, someone might challenge and say, well, is that a burden? Come on, that's being ridiculous. But you know what? The less we have to do on the Sabbath, the better. And the more peaceful and the more calm our atmospheres can be. So, now we need to also really think about preparing those meals. Carol mentioned earlier that we need to make up that menu. So on Sunday, when you have planned the meal for the Sabbath, by Wednesday, you need to have purchased any food items you will need for the meal. If you'll not arrive at home on time, cook your meal Thursday night or Friday morning. I know when I was raising my kids, cooking meals in the morning, I can't claim it because my mother used to do it. But, having a hard head, it took me a long time to learn how to be like my mother. Make enough, one of the sisters mentioned to make enough for the entire weekend, so you're not tempted to cook on the Sabbath day. Real good stuff, because, if it's right there, I say until we can figure out a better way, or until the Most High gives us a better idea, we all agreed that we want to invest in some crock pots and keep warmers, to keep the food warm as we continue to discover, His will concerning using flames, on the Sabbath. So at a bare minimum, the crock pots and the warmers can be helpful, and we'll pray and ask the Most High to, continue to grant us His blessing and mercy and wisdom on how to handle these things. You can consider, or another sister said to consider making raw foods, the salads, and, like tuna salads and things like that could be served cold. Carol brought out using your best china. I thought that was so good because, technically this is like our Sunday dinner. Our Sunday dinners, we used to have everything all spread out there, your best china, your best everything, and hey, a fresh tablecloth. It just makes everything special because we are wanting to make our Sabbath a delight. Make sure here's something really you got to make sure of. Make sure your kitchen is clean. All the pots done and the food prep items cleared away before the Sabbath arrives. See, I know sometimes when I would make breakfast for my husband, in order for us to sit down and eat together, I hadn't quite had it in order that I cleaned up first, and then after breakfast, it was just a mess that had to be cleaned. So if you get all that stuff cleaned up and out of the way, it's just a good way that you can have everything done, and then you just have some simple dishes to wash afterward. and make the meal special, a feast, unto the Lord. So there should be a special dessert that you make. Maybe you want to make a different one. I don't know. But, consider what you want to make consistently each Sabbath. You know what I mean? For the sisters that are not married, Carol mentioned inviting people over or just agree to make the meal for everyone. That's what we talked about on the show. So if you have only boys, of course, I don't think, you should be so involved in the food prep because you want to kind of train them. Maybe they can be starting to read the Bible scriptures and things of that nature. You can kind of get them, but certainly have those girls in the kitchen. Get those aprons on them early.
Yeah, some boys like to cook, too. My husband can really cook.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
throw that out there.
and that's true, Carol. That's so true. But I mean, that's certainly done. And I don't know. I guess I'm old-fashioned. If my husband comes in the kitchen, it's on. But anyway,
yeah. When we were raised in a home, Shirley, where, and this is just to share to the audience, where the boys did absolutely nothing, and I resented it my entire life. But they did absolutely nothing. They were told that the only thing they had to do was put out garbage and wash floors, which I don't remember them doing. Do you?
Not at all. Not at all. But, okay, we digressed again. We're just going to get through this. We're almost done, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. But, you do want to get those little girls, and I'm telling you, when I come in the house with my grandkids here, when I come over and I'm cleaning fish or I'm cooking or what have you, I bring them in and I make them wash their hands and I let them, ooh, can we help? Can we help? Oh, of course. Put their little aprons on and sit them down, and I have them put the cornmeal on the fish. After about the first 5 pieces, they don't want to do anymore. But guess what? No, you got to finish. And, they're all involved. They get a good idea what cooking is. It's so not a joke.
You can make it fun too. But just
absolutely.
A little bit more I wanted to throw in was getting the clothes ready. If you can, get the wash and the ironing done and ready with your fringes and anything that you plan, headdress, whatever it is that you're going to do, try to get all that done and consider buying or making special clothes for the Sabbath class or for the Sabbath dinner. And just to remember that we like white and royal blue. Not we, but the scriptures kind of alludes to white and royal blue. And if you have someone, make certain you have beautiful, fresh garments for the priest of the home, just to make him feel especially special. And if you don't have a husband, have your son stand in the gap. He can be the guy that's at the front of the table leading prayer. Get the kids to help you with it. Mention the making the food. Make animal-shaped bread or something. Just get them involved. And this So we should be considering what we're going to wear, take a shower, get all prepared, and try to get control over the whole situation. I mentioned last time that my Sundays were a nightmare. And you can make a last-minute checklist. It's like make sure you have adequate gas in the car, stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that the last thing, like she said, a last-minute checklist. Just put a whole checklist down of things that you need to do. And I just wanted to throw out here one last thing that a sister mentioned to me. I think it was actually Giovanni, that a friend of hers bought a table, an old table, dining table from a thrift shop, and cut the legs down really low. And every Sabbath, they pull that table out and they eat on the floor at the table like Christ and the disciples. I thought that was kind of beautiful. So be creative. Yeah, be creative, and and then share your ideas with us, okay? When you call in, Carol, can you make up a calendar, of by, say, Sabbath, by Sunday we start doing this, and Monday, and of course no one's being held to any of this, but we just thought it might be a wonderful way for us to try and make the Sabbath a delight unto the Most High. Okay.
Did you have like a little agenda? I remember you put down like a mock agenda. Am I going?
A little bit is I don't know if that's hearing out there in the audience. I hope it stops. But anyway, let's move on to the next part of our show for tonight. I wanted to begin to go into us as being helpmeets for the Most High. And I know we were looking into some of the information that is written by some of our sisters that are out there, and just some other, Christian people or people that have gone through things, regardless of your whatever walk you are in life. When you're trying to become a submissive wife or trying to learn how to walk humbly before the Lord and be in a relationship, there are so many things and so many pitfalls that we fall into. So I read a lot of material, but I was looking at one book called Created to Be His Helpmeet. When I read the beginning of her story, I said, wow, it's a nice story, who she is and what happened to her. It didn't seem to relate to a lot of people that I know, and I thought it was very, very interesting because she does have a husband that is walking with the Most High, which makes life a lot better, but still a challenge all the same. But nonetheless, there was a section in there that I did want to read to everyone, and then we want to get you guys on the phone after we read it and let you guys kind of give us some commentary on what you think here. And then the next segment after that, we're going to go into health, okay? Carol has some really interesting stuff to bring forth, and so do I, too, okay? So I'm going to just read a little bit of this. And the topic is hilarious. It says, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. And this is a letter that's written to this person. It says, I heard your article read publicly called Carnal Husbands, Clunky Wives, and Cantankerous Kids.
Hello, sisters. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay,
That one sounds better.
Yeah, there's a squeaky little noise. We're gonna take a break. I think we have to adjust your phone here and your mic. So we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
We're bringing the treasures of the earth
to the people of the world.
Amenez les trésors de la terre au peuple du monde.
This is your day to shine, your time to win. So raise your cup and drink.
Hii coffee ni nzuri sana, kwa hivyo tunatakikana kukunywa, alafu tunasaidia dunia yote.
Trayendo los tesoros de la tierra a la gente del mundo.
Whether it's latte, mocha, the king of coffee, or our delicious teas, you'll soon see what all the buzz is about in more than 30 countries worldwide. Organo Gold gives you 200 nutrients in every cup. It's silky smooth and delicious, without the jitters. Drink the healthier coffee. Visit our site today at oneincreasedcoffee.organogold.com. That's the number 1, increasedcoffee.organogold.com. Kwam Yasharala.
Do you have a talent, a company, or a service to render? Would you like an avenue to get the word out? Well, GOCC Blog Talk Radio would like to connect with you to help fulfill your vision. Don't have a clear direction on where to go? It's okay. GOCC Blog Talk Radio can assist you with making your very own commercial. Call us now at 1-888-334-3330 and be on your way to the expansion of your business. That's 1-888-334-3330. GOCC Blog Talk Radio Station, starting the foundations for the building blocks of life. GOCC members ask for special rates.
Hello? Are we there? I think we're back now. Sister Carol, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So I think we're back live again. I'm just going to start from the beginning of our article, if that's okay. We're reading, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. I think there's somebody out there that can understand that. I heard your article, and this I'm reading from Created to Be His Helpmeet. and this is a letter that was written to the author. I heard your article read publicly called Carnal Husbands, Cranky Wives, and Cantankerous Kids while at a seminar in Knoxville. It was the first time I realized my anxiety controlled my husband and was a reflection of my lack of confidence in him. As we left the seminar and were fighting traffic, my husband spoke up that we needed to stop for gas. Miles passed, and still the traffic was bumper to bumper. Suddenly, we were free and in the mountains with no place to buy gas. I was in extreme state of turmoil. I had worked myself up into a state that I wanted to scream to him to go back into the city and get gas. I could see the gas gauge. It was totally empty. I kept quietly raging to God that this was the exact reason why I had to take control, since he is the most irresponsible man and does not make wise decisions. I felt that I should tell him what to do. I was so nervous, I was almost sick. But for the first time, I kept my mouth shut, and I looked interestedly at the hills. 10 miles up into the mountains, we finally came to an exit that had a gas station, and my husband turned to me, smiled, and said, "What happened to you? You're not a nervous wreck like you usually are. I'm so glad you learned to relax." Isn't life more fun when you're not full of fear? I'm proud of you. I had to stop and think. Even if we had run out of gas, would it have been a tragedy? I could see that I had turned many things into monsters. I had the opposite of a meek and quiet spirit that we're supposed to have. I have learned not to let my fears and irritations over uncertain circumstances control me. And much worse, my husband. I am learning to lean on my husband. Okay. All right. I'd love to hear what some of our listeners have to say about that and what they think and, how they would handle that situation. So I'd like to start bringing in some of the callers. Let's see. Do we need to go to break or because we know we just had a little bit of a break, but maybe we can go right into the callers. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's call out Sister Shirley if we can, work.
I'm here.
Wonderful.
Okay, sister. So please press 1 so that you can make a comment or a question in regards to what Sister Shirley just brought out in reference to the woman and dealing with anxiety. I know I myself am controlled by anxiety. I definitely can relate. So as the sisters are pressing 1, I can relate to my situation. When you read that, I felt like that was me last week. Caught in traffic, had an appointment. My husband was taking the longest time to get ready, and I was just like, why is this happening to me? I should have just made this appointment by myself. And definitely struggle with that myself. So I definitely can relate to that. So I have a question. What would be your recommendation of dealing with situations that can cause us to be frantic and anxious?
Well, one of the things that you have to start to learn is that when you get angry and when you get frantic, it certainly doesn't add any help to the situation. I know that sometimes when I'm on the job and, someone comes in and they're in a panic about something and they're rushing you because you can't, and you can't get things done, then all of a sudden, as you're trying to, move faster, you start making more mistakes. you start really messing up because pressure is being put on you. And I know that it's not simple, especially when maybe 5 miles before you got on, you told him to go get, you made the suggestion, listen, don't we need gas, things of that nature. But learning to not add fuel, no pun intended, to an already burning fire is really, really important. You know what I mean? Because, go ahead, Carol.
If you want.
No, go.
Okay, when I'm at work, I am, I think, the calmest person in the entire world. Things happen, and I don't yell at anybody. And people say to me, how can you handle it? You're so calm. And I know for sure it has a lot to do with consequences, that there's a level of respect that we maintain when others are around. But sometimes when we're with our spouses or family members, we're very comfortable, and sometimes we feel like they'll forgive a blow-up if we lose it every now and then. So what I keep trying to say to myself is, think of him as the judge. You go into court, the judge could say anything in the world to the vilest person who would curse you out in the street. But for some reason, he holds it together. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. And he doesn't lose it. But yet, when he's around, he's comfortable. He's screaming and carrying on. And maybe that's a mindset. The Word of God tells us to look to our husbands almost, they're our heads, like we're looking to him, like Sarah called her husband Lord. And I know that's something we have to learn to do, because the world, the shows that are on television teach us that the man is an idiot. And, they teach us that the woman is just coming up with these gems all day long, and the children even turn and look at him with disdain, like, hey, you're silly. And he sits over there pulling straw out of his piece or something. It's really kind of the examples that we're seeing. So my recommendation is to try to look at them with a different level of respect and pretend they're someone else, or to refrain from losing it, because that happens to me all the time. My husband, the morning that I was having my son, I had said to him all those days, make sure there's gas in the car, please. He got up 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm in labor, screaming my head off, and he gets in the car and goes, I got gas. Even though I was in pain, I was screaming my head, why could you do this to me? Why? It didn't help the situation. It made it worse because he was nervous as it was. But anyway, just an idea.
Okay.
Thank you, sis. Okay, we have Sister Diane. Sister Diane, you're on.
Hi, Shalom. How are y'all tonight? Thank you for having me on.
Good, Sister Diane. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say what Sister Carol was saying. It's so true that they do make the man look like an idiot, and they put the woman over the man. And, that, of course, goes back all the way to slavery and everything. But, I just wanted to say about the whole anxiety thing. It's so funny because when Sister Carol was talking about how calm she is, they say that about me at work, too. I have my days and everything, where I don't feel like that. But overall, I've been told that by, different donors and people that come in, because I work in healthcare. And I remember one of my business partners years ago, they always used to tease me, because they used to say that Gail would punch people out, and they would call me the Band-Aid lady, because Gail would get on people, and then I'll come and I'll put a Band-Aid on it. And they thought we worked well together, because we were just the opposite of each other. Because, she would just, go off on the person, and then I'll just come and I'll just put water on the situation. She'd be like, oh, my God. She said, you and my husband, y'all both the same. Y'all must be brother and sister. And we used to just laugh all the time about it. But, like Cal was saying, too, sometimes, you have to kind of, think before you react, because there can be consequences to it. And every now and then, when I'm when I'm, getting ready for the Sabbath, it can be a little bit, I can be a little anxious because I'm trying to get stuff done. But I also find, too, like Sister Shirley was saying, when you planning and you got everything in order, it's so calm.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
look forward to the Sabbath so much. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like I do have this excitement when Friday comes, because it's like after I finish working and I'm in my house and I'm like in my own world, in my home, and the sun goes out, it's like everything feels so peaceful. And then it's
Beautiful.
even more delightful, when I come together with y'all brothers and sisters on Saturday, because I feel like I'm going to my family reunion. Like these are actually my brothers and sisters from the tribes that I'm going to see.
Beautiful.
And I love. Sorry for the fire truck.
We're getting a lot of feedback. We're getting a lot of noise in the background. Diane, are you out in a car? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
yeah.
So much better, Sister Diane.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I have to make a joke. Elder Gabar, he did say we have to be in a quiet setting. We can't have anything going on, no shootouts or anything. But anyway, like I was saying, that just going to, meet with y'all on Saturdays, it's like I feel like I'm with my extended family. And it's like having that end closing of the week, I feel like it prepares you to go into Sunday for the next week. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes I just can't wait till Friday comes, because I know I'm going to have that calm again, and I know I'm going to see my brothers and sisters. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, sister. That was an excellent answer. And, I just want to say that it's a really good thing to remember that when we are, whatever we're doing, the scripture says that we have to glorify the Most High in everything that we do. So, losing it, jumping off the handle, all of that is certainly not glorifying the Most High. Guess what? We're out of order. All right, so go ahead, Carol.
No, I was just thinking about, riding the train and reading your Bible, and someone comes and steps on your foot or whatever, and you got something nasty to say, and then you bury your head back in the Bible. How embarrassing.
Exactly. All right, so let's go to the next caller, if there's anybody out there in the queue.
Currently, there is no one in the queue for this question.
Okay, good. Okay. All right.
Want to move to the health section?
Yeah, let's go to that. Let's move on to the health section, and then maybe someone will call in, and we can go further with that.
Okay.
Carol?
Want to bring your the article that you have first, or do you want me to go first?
No, you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Last week I might even have shared it the first week, but I had mentioned that my granddaughter has really, really severe asthma, and that sometimes she ends up in intensive care. This last bout, she was in intensive care for 8 days and then moved to the regular pulmonary floor. But it was one of the scariest times, and during that time, we all committed as a family to eat raw for a while. But I remembered a book that we had read, and I wanted to reference it, and so the name of the book is Your Body's Many Cries for Water. And so there's a little excerpt that I wanted to read on the impact of dehydration on asthma. It says the incidence of asthma is growing in number and severity, and most people are either put on medications or are using over-the-counter drugs to deal with it. Dr. F. Bat-Mingle-Heigl, in his book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, explains a very important point that has been overlooked when treating this condition, dehydration. Inadequate water consumption has an impact in the development of asthma, and this should be addressed before prescribing any medication. The human body is composed of 75% water, and it has systems that regulate its distribution. Those systems of drought management have established certain priorities according to the importance of the organ. For instance, the brain is treated with the highest priority. Histamine is in charge of the water regulation system. So when we don't drink enough water, it becomes overly active. If the dehydration becomes chronic, too much histine is released and can cause allergies, asthma, and chronic pain in different parts of the body. And don't they give you antihistamines or something on that order? Antihistamines, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's too much histine being released. Isn't that funny? But these conditions should not be treated with medication, antihistamines, because they are signals telling us that there is a shortage of water in your body. It's funny how the medical industry, we're not doctors, and we're not, trying to claim that we heal people, anything like that, but we notice that they treat our symptoms. If you come in and you say you have high blood pressure, here, take these 2 pills and call me in the morning. That's the way it goes. It's not, okay, let's figure out how this happened. So I'm going to continue. If the state of chronic dehydration in the body causes asthma, the person will experience increased respiratory distress, coughing, and excess mucus secretion. All that bronchial constriction is caused by increased levels of histine in the lung tissue. The lungs need water to keep the air passages moist, to prevent them from drying up. Hang on for a second. Hold on for just a second.
We're having a little bit of difficulty in the background, but give us a second. Okay, great. Got it back.
Okay. The lungs need water to keep the air passages moist and to prevent them from drying up when air circulates in it. Therefore, the release of histamines in the lungs is really a response from the body to preserve its levels of water in an organ that is a major site of water loss. The minimum daily water intake should be 6 to 8 glasses, 8 ounces per day. Alcohol, coffee, tea, and caffeinated-containing beverages do not count as water. And the best time to drink it are half an hour before taking food and 2.5 hours after each meal. A rule that can be used to calculate the number of glasses needed is drink a half an ounce of water for every pound of body weight. So if you were 100 pounds, you'd take 50 ounces of water. On average, a patient suffering from asthma should see positive results after 3 to 4 weeks of regulating their body water levels. Something to keep in mind is that the increase of water intake should be done gradually and sustained on a daily basis. Overdrinking or binging in water for a few days is not going to undo the damage of months or years of chronic dehydration. Also, watching the levels of potassium intake is also recommended for asthmatics because high amounts of it can promote the increase of histamine production. A good example of this is orange juice, which has a very high amount of potassium. Therefore, a maximum of 2 glasses a day should be consumed. In regards to the quality of drinking water, it is ideal if the patient uses filtered water. Chlorinated water, besides causing skin irritation and destroying the friendly microflora of the digestive tract, forms free radicals, promotes oxidation. It can, for instance, deplete our vitamin E reserves. Even worse, chlorinated water contains chemical compounds called trihalomethanes, which are carcinogenic, that results from the mix of chlorine with organic matter. That's very interesting. These chemicals can cause mutations by altering your DNA and can also suppress the function of the immune system. In addition, chlorine has been proven to aggravate asthma in children, especially in those who get exposed to it by frequently use of swimming pools. It is refreshing to find theories that offer new options, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to read you, the final thing is some of the diseases that are caused by dehydration. Destruction of bone density, which causes osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. You have a lack of energy. I mentioned asthma already. Sleep disorder, brain and nerve damage, lack of energy, MS, high blood pressure, obesity, allergies, diabetes, constipation, hiatal hernia, colitis, ulcers, rheumatoid arthritis, depression, gout, cravings, autoimmune disease, cancer, heart failure, and he even has a whole write-up on the fact that HIV/AIDS can be cured by hydrating the body. This gentleman also wrote books. The one I told you about was Your Body, Many Cry for Waters. He has one called The ABCs of Asthma, Allergy, and Lupus, and How to Heal Back Pain and Joint Pain. Okay. That's it.
Well, I think that's really, really good, information, because one of the things we know is that we are being dehydrated. All our foods are the liquid has been taken out, and this is what we eat. We thrive on bags of chips. All the water's moved out of there, fried in grease, which makes it even worse. And this is any of the processed foods that we're getting. Everything is dried out, and even when we cook our food, it's cooked out. And so, to add insult to injury, we have the table salt that we throw in there, which is a chemical. It's not even, what we should be putting in our bodies. So it's like this is a never-ending story here, that we are killing ourselves, and the industry is helping us. No one is even asking the question why, but this is definitely what is happening to us. So, we thought that we would definitely bring this out because we have to start somewhere. And
absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that about salt. He also recommends about almost a teaspoon of salt every day, even though the doctors tell us no salt, but it can't be that common table salt because that's so bad for us. It has to be some type of highly mineralized sea salt, like, for example, the pink Himalaya salt. That's excellent. If you can't put it on your food, you can definitely try just eating it. I have a strong, what do you call it? I can take anything, so I take it like medicine. But we just started, and like you said, don't rush into it, but read more and understand how to help ourselves, because the medical industry, I think their objective is to get us all on something, and then we'll all be subjected to the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, and so the thing about it is that what you should definitely do about it is decide, number one, what water to drink. It's so hard out there because you got the Poland Springs water and the Deer Park water. They don't even list the pH balance because it's straight up acid, and it's really bad for you. And then they have some of the other waters they're considered alkaline, and the pH is, the highest I've seen is 9 as the pH, and it's supposed to be really good for you, but you're going to pay somewhere like, $9 a bottle. Well, not quite that, but it's very, very expensive. But one good way to get water into your body is eating fruits and vegetables that are filled with water. Now, if you go and cook it out of them, that's kind of defeating the purpose. But if you get yourself, especially right now in the summer, if you're in the East Coast or, I don't know where everybody is, but if you can get yourself some watermelon and eat that, that's really, really healthy for you. That's the best kind of water you can get. But I suggest that you get that watermelon. Every now and then we have, around the time when the watermelons are supposed to be ripe and ready to go, we get our Southerners that come up that have their own little farms that the government has not gotten a chance to regulate, and they bring in the watermelons that have seeds in them, for God's sake. And
that's right, the long, oblong watermelons, not those little round babies with no seeds.
Yeah, they have the seeds in them, and, it's really funny because I've had the other watermelons, and every now and then you find a couple of seeds in them, and I planted those seeds and nothing happened. But when I planted the watermelon seeds from these watermelons, it actually began growing a plant for me. Now, needless to say, I live in PA, and the deer took care of that for me. They ate the plant, the seed, the everything around it, and tore the pot up while they were at it. But nonetheless, these kinds of things will hydrate your body and give you the fluids that you need. So instead of even thinking about, what drugs we can take and, how much bottled water can we get to counteract this, because there's so much chlorine and fluoride, I tell you, it's really, really hard to get good water without spending a lot of money. So, okay, pay $9 for that watermelon and you're in business. you know.
Well, they're not making it easy for us, so it's more homework for the group to do. Okay,
Exactly.
you want to, bring out the information you have?
Yeah, I did want to mention the information that we were talking about for coconut oil. Now, I know I've lived long enough to see the tropical oil wars, meaning when we were growing up, we used to get cookies that Mama used to buy, and they had coconut oil and palm oil in the cookies and things of that nature. And when we got the coconut oil, we ate the cookies, and you never even kind of thought about it. But then when the soybean oil was, shall I say, created and became what the government decided or the world decided this is what we're going to eat, they got rid of any of the cookies that had the palm oil and things of that nature, and they just demonized it. I just want to read you a little segment out of the book, and I recommend it to everyone. It's called The Coconut Oil Miracle, and it says, the tropical oils war. Let me just give you a little bit of the table of contents that it says, and it's the truth about coconut oil, understanding fats, which you really need to try and understand that there are good fats and that there are bad fats, and you need to try to understand that. The new weapon against heart disease, nature's marvelous germ fighter. Coconut oil really, really is good for you. Now, there's a lot in here that I can't really read because you have to kind of understand the scientific portion of it in the beginning, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the segment of it. If you could just bear with me a minute so I can pull it up for you.
While you're pulling it up, I remember when the cakes had stamps on them, no tropical oils, as if that was the greatest thing in the world. Once they decided and had demonized that tropical oils were no longer any good for us.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to read this section, New Weapon Against Heart Disease. While having dinner with friends some time ago, I happened to mention that coconut oil was the healthiest oil one could use. A member of the group objected to my statement and responded empathetically. Coconut oil is unhealthy. It causes heart disease. My rebuke was quick and simple. That must be why all Pacific Islanders died off hundreds of years ago. My antagonist didn't know how to respond to this statement. The simple fact is Pacific Islanders who live on traditional diets rich in coconut don't get heart disease. Coconuts have been a staple in these diets of Pacific Islanders for thousands of years. They eat them by the pound every day. Common sense would tell you that if they were as harmful as we have been led to believe, all the islanders would have died off years ago. And it just kind of goes into that, but basically I just wanted to give you a list of some of the things that this coconut oil cures. I had the page marked, and then I kind of lost it. So, Carol, if you want to throw something
Well, you know
in
what,
while I'm
Cheryl,
going.
if you can tell them your personal testimony.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well,
you've been taking it.
Well, okay. The one thing you got to know about any time you try to heal your body or take on anything like that's cleansing you, you're going to go into a healing crisis. And, oh, boy, did I go into a healing crisis. And when I say a healing crisis, you get that runny nose, you get that sneezing, you get that coughing, and you just feel like garbage, you know. And the more toxic you are at the time, like if you've been eating a lot of dairy products, you've been eating a lot of white flour and things of that nature, you're going to get this healing crisis where your nose is stopped up, and you think you have a cold, but what is happening is your body is getting rid of the imperfections that are in you. It's throwing off all that, stuff that's inside of you that's damaging. And so what I'm hearing a lot of feedback in the background. Are you hearing your mic okay, Carol? Okay, I don't know. I sound okay to you? You still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right,
Sharice,
so
is it okay?
I don't hear her right now.
You're okay.
Okay, good. And so,
Can you tell us, Cheryl, what you were trying to fix?
Well, yeah, I had been eating, I had fallen off the wagon for many, many years, and now I'm trying to get back on board. And once you go to the doctor and you find out things, they start telling you your blood pressure's high, you got this, you got that, and here's some pills, you know. So I just started using the coconut oil, and by the time I went back to the doctor, my blood pressure was regulated, And so it's like, it sounds like really, really weird, but all the other oils are carcinogenic when you heat them. Even that extra virgin olive oil is bad for you because once you add that heat to it, it becomes poison. And so think about that when you go in the stores and you're buying fried chicken. You're eating French fries. You're eating potato chips. We're killing ourselves with those oils because those oils have become, first of all, most of the time, by the time they get to you, because they've been heated so much just to make them into oils, they are rancid. And what do they put in it? They put deodorizers in it. They put stabilizers and all kinds of different things in them to prevent spoilage and retardation so that you can eat it. Meanwhile, it's really, really killing us. But here's a good list of some of the things it cures, and it's called microorganisms killed by the medium chain fatty acids, and that's what coconut oil is. It's a medium chain fatty acid, and because it's a medium chain fatty acid, it does not affect your cholesterol level like the world wanted us to believe. When you get an opportunity, look up medium chain fatty acids and find out what it says about palm oil and coconut oil and palm kernel oil. These are the viruses that it takes care of: HIV, measles, herpes, can't even read that word, sarcoma, hold on, influenza, some of these words you can't even read, leukemia, how about that for a cure, hepatitis C, things that, they tell you you can't get rid of. The coconut oil is really taken care of. And the way you're taking it, they basically take a tablespoonful 4 times a day, or you cook with it, because when you cook with the coconut oil, it's not going to become carcinogenic because it's a medium chain fatty acid. So like I said, I couldn't sit here all night and explain to you everything about medium chain fatty acid, but you need to really look into that. And then you can use it in your hair, you can use it on your skin as a moisturizer. Think about all the different things that you can do with coconut oil to make yourself beautiful, along with the wonderful effects that it's having on your body. Okay? So, Carol,
I think you had mentioned that it cures eczema, too.
Oh,
right?
yes, psoriasis. I can't find the section right now. I had it tagged, and for some reason, I apologize, but, we'll get to that again. I'll just read a little segment. Coconut oil as a super antimicrobial, okay? We live in an environment teeming with microorganisms. They are in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we drink. They even live in our skin. Many of these germs cause disease, and some have become drug-resistant super germs. And when we take those antibiotics, when we stop taking them, the drugs a lot of times migrate, or is that the word? No, they evolve into another germ where they can't mutate. That's the word. And so that's what they call super germs. Fortunately, nature has provided us a number of medicinal plants to help protect us from attack by these harmful pests. Coconut is one of these. When you catch a cold or get a flu, how long does it stay around? For most people, it lasts several days to a week or more. There is no medicine, no cure for a common cold or flu. When you get sick, you have to let your body fight its battle, its own battle. That's why it takes so long to shake these illnesses. Not too long ago, an associate of mine said she felt like she was coming down with the flu. She had the beginnings of a sore throat, sinus congestion, and fatigue. I told her take 2 or 3 tablespoons of coconut oil mixed in a glass of lukewarm water, lukewarm orange juice with every meal. She looked at me inquisitively as if to say, "You've got to be joking. How is coconut oil going to help?" From earlier discussion, she knew coconut oil had many nutritional benefits, but she doubted it would help with her infection. I didn't tell her it would cure her or that it would even make her feel better. Trust me, I said, take it and see what happens. During the first day, the symptoms got worse, kind of just like I told you guys, as they usually do with seasonal infections. Normally, the flu gets progressively worse. For the first few days until the body has had time to rally its defenses sufficiently to fight the invading infection. The next day, instead of getting worse, the symptoms started to go away. By the end of the third day, the symptoms were all but gone. 3 days, that's all it took. She was surprised. I never had an infection that lasted only 3 days. So, there's lots of other information in here that I just wish that everybody would just, get the book, and I'm going to say the name of the book again. It's called The Coconut Oil Miracle, and it's written by Bruce Fife, F-I-F-E. You can just get that book, and I think it'll be really beneficial. The cost is like $18 in U.S. dollars, so I suggest that you get it. But it looks like it's going to be a quiet night tonight. I don't see anyone in the queue.
We have some in the queue.
You do? Oh, my goodness.
We do have some women in the queue. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So why don't you let one of our callers in then?
Sure. Can I just add on to one thing that you said about coconut oil? Because I personally have taken it. It's very good for the woman's reproductive system. I had ovarian cyst, and I was taking coconut oil by the spoon, and I was taking other natural herbs, but detoxing my body, and coconut oil was one of them. And my cyst decreased. I was actually having like PCOS, which is having many cysts, polycystic ovary syndrome, and also coconut oil. I don't know if women, you guys are familiar, but there's this thing called oil pulling. Pulling is when you put a tablespoon of coconut oil in your mouth and you squish it throughout your mouth for about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. It kills bacteria in your mouth. It kills, it also, because you're under your tongue, you have the glands that go straight into your bloodstream. It's also good to kill bacteria through your throughout your body. So that's also something that could be beneficial for the women that are listening to look up. It's oil pulling with coconut oil, and the vast things that it does. It's very beneficial.
Thanks so much.
Can you tell me what that word is? Is it pulling or pulling?
Oil pulling, like the opposite of pushing. Oil pulling. Okay?
Thank you.
I actually have a picture. I'll send it to you, sister. That says like a brief thing of everything that you can do. And I do that daily. That's one of the first things I do in the morning. And actually it also helps you whiten your teeth. That's just another plus to it. Instead of women buying those teeth whiteners, it helps remove stains from your teeth as well. And also the other thing that Sister Carol brought out, I just wrote little things because I'm also on the whole health change. I lost about 60 pounds. I used to be like 250 pounds before.
Wow.
And I went to this whole big detoxing. Another way of, Sister Carol was talking about hydrating your body, and Sister Shirley brought out stuff about, eating fruits. There's with watermelon, also cucumbers, pineapples, lettuce, blueberries, celery, pears, and melon and grapefruit are also very high in water content. They're all above 90%. So I just wanted to give you other fruits that are recommended. So we have, no problem. We have Sister Diane. Sister Diane, you're on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hi, Sister Diane.
Shalom.
Hey, this is Shirley.
Shalom, Sister.
Shalom, and just praise the Lord for His goodness and His mercy, the kind of He's waking us up.
Yes,
to the
he is.
trick of the enemy. And he's going to heal his people, get us back to where we used to be. Thank the Lord for that.
Yes, we are so
He
grateful.
is good. He's merciful.
Yes,
and kind.
he is.
And
Sister,
then,
do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I wanted to. I just wanted to take it back off of this. You said something about. I didn't want to go back to the couple steps.
Sure.
The soybeans. You said they took out the palm oil. What's the difference between the palm oil and the coconut oil?
Well, the palm oil and the coconut oil is a higher. It's higher up on the chain of the fatty acids. It has a longer chain of the medium fatty acids. And so the palm oil is okay, but the coconut oil is better, and the coconut and the palm kernel oil, it's just a better oil for you as far as nutrition, as far as healing is concerned, and not congesting your veins, rather, getting caught up, as far as like making your cholesterol higher and things of that nature.
Okay, well, praise God for that.
Yes,
that
yes,
is so good to know. And here's another thing. We as a people, we have been lied to about everything.
Yes, we have.
Tell you the truth about something, it is the lie. If they tell you coconut oil is no good for you, hey, we can get you soybean oil. That's even better. But soybean oil, I do read. Oh, thank the Lord for internet and resources to find out these things. The soybeans, they say the soybeans, it makes the woman have to revert to something like the male hormones, and the male get female hormones from the soybeans.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
Good, period.
Yes. It's the estrogen that makes...
soy milk and all that. What was that, Ted?
Yeah, you're so right about that. The estrogen in the milk is creating these things in our men. And, you look at people and sometimes you wonder why our people are turning into these, alternative lifestyles. And, it's strategically done. And sometimes it's like, can you even be angry? Can you even be angry with them when this is sort of what the elders teach us, that sometimes this stuff is happening in our brains and it's happening in our body. And this is why the Most High said that we need to fast and pray. And so when we fast, we can get these impurities out of our bodies, but then going forward, we need to look and find out what it is that's making us sick and killing us, because we live in a reaping and sowing world. And when we're living in a reaping and... I'm sorry?
Everything is corrupted. Everything is, this demon. His imp, I'll call them them and they done corrupted everything, and putting poisons in our air. They don't want you to eat. They want you to fast for the rest of your life. They don't.
Straight up social engineering.
Right.
The GMOs.
Okay. Well, that's really good. Thank you so much, sister. I really appreciate you bringing that out, because it's so true. Okay, go ahead.
What is Shema?
The Shema?
Yes.
The Shema is what we call the Hebrew Credo. It's Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
And the reason that it's called the Shema is because it's the first word of the scripture. Hear, O Israel, Shema means to hear.
Right. And it's just basically the Hebrew Credo that we always, our ancestors would say it in the synagogue. I mean, not synagogue, but in when they would gather together, and this is what we do. So, in service, we say the Sama. Do you fellowship with the brothers and sisters, Sister Diane, anywhere?
Well, we don't have a facility here in Tennessee, in my area. At least, my means of fellowship is, for the most part, with you all.
Okay.
All
right.
And this is the way, was going back to the beginning, this is the way, I mainly it's fellowship. But then I also have I have to make, I like a well-manicured yard. And sometimes it's a juggle and a struggle for me as far as, something is going to go lacking either the housework or the yard work. And, and I, can't feel inside. I like my yard looking good, And then my neighbor used to cut my yard, but then again he was a white man, he put the hose pipe under my yard, up under my house.
Oh,
and
okay.
I have no dealings with him since then.
Well, Sister Diane, the thing is,
cutting my yard, but don't cover my yard butchering it.
Okay. Well, Sister Diane, we still have to make sure we maintain all that we glorify the Most High in everything that we do. And thank you so much for your comments. We do want to get to the other callers tonight because we're not going to be. I think we have like about 20 minutes left to the show, or something close to that. But you know what, Sister? Thank you so much for calling in, and we'll talk to you next time then, okay? If you could press 1 for us, and Sister Cherie, if you could bring in the next caller, it would be wonderful.
Sure. We have Sister Tahisha.
Hello, Sister Tahisha?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, just a quick one. I work on Saturdays, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to tackle that, because I can't always get off on the Sabbath, and it's really, really difficult.
Wow, that's a really hard question. The thing is that, of course, we all want to work towards trying to keep the Sabbath, because it's really, really important time, and we thank the Most High for grace. But maybe there's a way that you can try and make the Sabbath special in the best way that you can on the job. Maybe like during your breaks, you can be in the scriptures, reading the word. Maybe on the Sabbath, you can come in with your head covered, with your head covering on. Maybe on the Sabbath, you can, just kind of not be as involved with outside things to the best of your ability. I know that it's not simple when you're on the job, because you're really like at the command of others. But like when you're on your way to work and excuse me, when you're getting yourself ready, have your things ready early. Just try to figure out ways that you can at least, take out time for the Most High and make his Sabbath the best delight that you can the day before. I don't know if you're working the day before the Sabbath too, or whether when you get home, if you can at least, bring that into the Sabbath. And if at all possible, maybe watch, kind of tune in with the elders and listen to the Sabbath during your break time. If that's at all possible, I don't know exactly in the environment that you're in if you can do that. But Carol, can you think of anything else she can do?
It's usually not. Let me tell you why I said that, because I work most of the time into the night and overnight, like 3 at night to 3 in the morning, so a lot of it is during the afternoon, and then it goes down into the Sabbath and then into the next morning. And then when I get off, I just go to sleep. So I kind of miss a lot of it, and based on my schedule, I work at least 3 weekends out of the month.
Well, I tell you,
my suggestion is that you pray and ask the Most High if there's any opportunities for a change. And then if you go on an interview for any other jobs, try to say to yourself, the next job I get, I'm going to do my very best to make sure it's not the Sabbath. Because I'll tell you something, the scripture that says, "Thou shalt not covet." And I'm not judging you in any way, but sometimes we'll take a job that makes us work on the Sabbath weekends because there's a differential, and we'll go, well, I can make a little more money. And I know that from my own experience. And all I'm saying is make it a concerted effort to say, going forward, I'm going to do my best to keep the Sabbath. And, you know, he says, ask and you shall receive. And that's about all you can do, because we're in the land of our captivity. We are not in our own land, in our own tribe, where the gates will close and no one's coming in and we can honor him. But if you're in the medical field or something of that nature...
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say, that it's a little different for me because of what I do. It's not something that will ever turn off on the Sabbath, because people will get sick on the Sabbath. You follow? Well, I mean, it is an emergency room. So
he honors
yeah,
that.
the Most High knows that.
Honors that.
But see, what I'm going to say is this. I remember when I worked on a job and I had a male person that kept bothering me. And I didn't want to quit the job because I was making really good money and I needed to be on that job. And I didn't know anything about the Sabbath or anything like that, so it didn't even involve the Sabbath. What I suggest to you is to just find ways throughout your life to delight yourself in the Lord, because he said he will give you the desires of your heart. And if your heart's desire is to be able to walk with the Most High, it looks like it's impossible, but somebody's off on the Sabbath day in the hospital. He'll work it out for you. He'll work it out for you. So your job right now, until the Most High takes over and does whatever he does, because he does some wonderful things, he can move you out of that position, because what he did for me is when I prayed and I just continued to walk in his footsteps, he moved me out of that position into another position in the same job. And then, you know, even though I was still being approached and things were still going on like that, what the Most High did, because I insisted on walking in his path, he brought a job to me. And the job was making like, $15,000 more than I was making already. It was like a no-win. I couldn't refuse that job. And so this is the kind of thing that the Most High will do for you when you walk in his footsteps. When you put him first in your life, he will make it come to pass. So just keep walking with the Most High. Keep delighting yourself in the Most High. Keep doing the things that you can do. I know a lot of times we look and we say, oh my goodness, there's so many rules and regulations, so many commandments, how can we keep them? Keep the ones that you can keep, and then let the Most High help you work out the others. That's my suggestion to you.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Sister Naomi.
Hello, shalom, sisters. My name is Naomi from Albany. How you doing?
Hi, Naomi from Albany.
How are you?
Good. I've been waiting all week for today. I'm so excited. My question was about the water. I've been trying, Poland Spring. I shop at Price Chopper, and I always get Poland Spring, and I walked in, and they had a sale. It was a 24-pack, 3 24-packs for $11. I said, oh, Lord, this must be poison. Why is it so cheap? And I was on a budget, too, and I dreadfully bought it, but I needed the water, and my question is, what water should I get? I was thinking to get Fiji water, but they don't sell it by the pack. You know, they just sell the liters, and they're really expensive.
Yeah.
And
you're going to pay a lot of money.
But you know what I suggest until we can figure this thing out? We know in distilled water, there's nothing. And you can use distilled water. There's no chlorine. There's no fluoride in it. And it's the same price as any other water.
What's the name of it again?
Distilled.
I didn't hear.
Distilled water. Years ago, people used it to pour in their irons because it didn't have the calcium buildup.
Okay.
So you can try that as we go through the books and things and figure out how we'll get the best water, because they're doing everything they can to make sure that we have to buy water, and that we're going to pay a lot to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about some of the waters and what we can do and what we can drink. And, you know, like we're finding, like when we're reading a lot of the materials, everybody has the right answer. Everybody. Oh, my goodness. The one thing we want to try to do when we're studying and we're looking at the materials is take what everyone is saying and at least look at what they all collectively are saying. Like we know.
Common denominator, right.
Exactly. We know dairy. Dairy is out. We know that is really bad for you. We know any of the white flours.
Well, like cheese and stuff?
That's out.
Dairy.
Yes. And
dairy.
Eggs. And
well, let me tell you. Wait.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about the dairy. Or see, the dairy. When you start talking about cheese, you're talking about not just the milk from the cows that they've already poisoned, but you're also talking about those polyunsaturated and the hydrogenated fats that are in the cheese. Really bad for you, really bad. And then they're loaded with calcium chloride, sodium chloride, which is the salt, the table salt that they use. So cheese is like a triple whammy.
And they pasteurize, they homogenize the milk to get the cow to produce milk constantly. They give them antibiotics, they give them female hormones, you know.
Oh, wow. I didn't
and then
know
you're
that.
getting blood, you're getting pus,
yes.
you're getting all kinds of things. And we're the only creatures on the earth that are drinking somebody else's milk. You know,
Whoa,
our babies are supposed to drink our milk, not the cow, because the cow's milk is made to create something as heavy as a cow. Now, a cow can be 800 pounds. Is that what we're trying to do?
Well,
I think putting female hormones in there, we're wondering why, as Shirley had mentioned, the population of homosexuals is rising. And we say they're coming out of the closet. What closet was that big? It's getting bigger and bigger. It's
so
like
what about like almond milk? How is that?
That's
almond
fine
milk is
because
excellent. Almond milk is excellent. But I do want to tell you that if you're going to drink almond milk, there's a lot of noise in the background. If you're going to drink, if you're going to drink almond,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was at work. I was just trying to wash a dish for my patient, but I turned the water off. I'm listening.
No, I apologize. I just didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When you want to drink almond milk, I make my almond milk fresh because sometimes when you read the labels on some of the almond milks and the different milks that are out there, trust me, they're not writing everything that's in that container on the label. That's number one. And so almond milk is one of the easiest things to make. You just need to buy yourself a nut milk bag to strain it, and you get fresh almonds. You can buy them on the internet. You can find them that are organic, and you have to make sure they're raw because sometimes they're not raw. I mean, even if you got some that are not 100% raw, whatever, you will find that that's still better than some of the almond milk that you find in these stores. But nonetheless, if you make it, all you need is a good blender. I recommend that you get a Vitamix blender. It's very expensive, and there's probably one that might even be a little better than the Vitamix out there. I know my daughter has one, but I can't remember the name of it. It's a little cheaper, but do your homework.
Okay. The Ninja.
It's not the Ninja. Those are really low grade. No, those are low grade blenders. These blenders cost around $400. Yeah, they
the
do.
Vitamix
okay.
The Vitamix is wonderful, and it makes phenomenal smoothies and things, and soups and stuff like that. So you get what you
Save
pay
up for it. Yeah, save up for it. And basically, you can find an almond milk recipe online easily. Like I said, we're going to try and get some of those things put on our webpage. But you can just put in just a little almonds, throw in the water. Of course, you want to use some clean water. You don't want to just get, chlorine water and make it with it, or what's the purpose? And then once you go ahead and you make that, and then you just strain it, a little almonds makes a lot of milk. And sometimes I put in, after I strain it, I put in like a little vanilla extract, sometimes maybe a little agave, or you can throw in some dates to make it a little bit sweeter. Sometimes you'll just want to drink it as a milkshake. It's so good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sis. And I have one more question. My last question was, where do I find the coconut? Because I have a health food store out here in Albany, but do I look in there, or do I just go to a local grocery store to find the coconut oil? Because they have, I've seen it in like hair stores. They have like organic coconut oil, but
that is not what you want. That is not what you want.
You're not going to eat that.
No, I don't know what that is.
In lots of the grocery stores, like Giant, Wegmans, and stuff like that, especially if they have an organic section. But usually, the health food stores have it.
A good rule of thumb is not to put anything on your body that you can't eat. And so if you go into the grocery store, when you're thinking about putting on lotion and things like that, this is something that you can put in your body, because guess what? Your skin is the biggest organ that you have. And so if you're going to put that stuff on your skin, you might as well go ahead and take a teaspoonful of it. But if you go into the store, what you want to get is organic, extra virgin coconut oil, because extra virgin is not cooked, just regular cold pressed coconut oil. Cheap. Now, Trader Joe's has a really good price on it, but it's you can certainly do that.
Okay. Okay. And that's clear, right? Because I've seen I know if I go to the health food store, I've seen unrefined coconut oil, but
yeah,
I don't know if I can cook with that.
Yes, absolutely. When you cook with it, it's delicious. Okay, when you cook with it, and you can put it on toast, it's very good.
Really?
On
wow.
Toast. Yeah.
And if you want it in her coffee,
if you want to make it taste like toast, like butter, when you put it on your toast, just sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on it, and you'll think you got buttered toast. And it's got a nice flavor. Sometimes I put a little cinnamon on for my husband and stuff like that. But Carol, what did you just say, the coffee? I tried that in my coffee. I didn't like that in my coffee.
This lady on
I don't like coffee.
I don't recommend coffee because it's a diuretic, but some people have to have it, and that's all there is.
Yeah.
So this lady on my job puts it in her. When I told her about it, she started putting it in her coffee. I said, okay, well, you like it. Cool. But I like to spoon it out of the jar when it's kind of not too hard, but it's delicious.
And I wanted to say one last thing, sister, that it looks like it's clear when it's really warm and it's melted, but when it's cool, I forget what temperature makes it congealed, but it's not it's supposedly not going to clog up your arteries because it's that medium chain fatty acid. Okay.
Okay, and I could use that if I have a cold too, the unrefined.
Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. That's the one you want to get. Yeah.
The unrefined. Okay, thank you so much, sisters.
You're welcome. Bye, sister.
Okay.
Shalom.
All right.
Okay, we have Sister Ashton on. Sister Ashton. Yes. Hello. Shalom, sister.
Hello. Hi.
Shalom.
Hi. I just want to say, first of all, I thank the Most High so much for you ladies coming together and doing the show, especially, just for me. I had so many questions, being a wife and coming to the truth and being new to it and wanting to do things right. And you hear so much stuff for, duties and stuff for the men, but not so much for the women, and I don't want to be wrong by saying that, but, you know, I just had questions, you know, of myself, like, okay, well, what should I do with this and this, and you guys just, it was like a prayer answered.
Amen.
You know, so I listen to you guys, and to, you know, I have 2 young children, a 1-year-old and 2-year-old, and trying to do things right for the Sabbath and for my family, and because my children are young, to get them, you know, into a routine of now this is the way it goes, you know? So I just thank you so much.
Wonderful.
You know,
Thank you.
my mom taught us the Lord's Prayer when we were very little. So it's like children, they're little sponges. And you're right.
Yeah.
They could take this in and pop all of us. They'll know the Shema. There's a little boy in our church, Sister Sharice's son. And he's louder than everybody, but he knows his prayers.
All praises, yes.
Excited about it.
And it's so funny because we don't even remember learning those things as children. I just always knew it. You know,
you're like, well, you don't know the Lord's Prayer? What's the matter?
We're so grateful to you, sister. Do you have a question? Do you want to ask?
Not really so much a question, because it seems like every time I come up with a question, you know, it's like a prayer be answered. You go ahead and you answer it before
That's so
I even got a time to call and be like, oh, I got to call. And I just thank the Most High for you guys. You just don't know. You guys are really a prayer answered for me, and I look forward to listening to you guys. And I want to thank you also for the information about, like, the coconut oil. Like, I just starting to get into being natural as far as leaving. I was real big on wearing, you know, wigs and weaves, and I just wanted to go natural, and I've noticed, like, how beautiful my hair really is. Not to say I wasn't happy, thought it was beautiful, but I had a perm since I could remember. So you just know your hair should be straight. When it's wet, it's kinky, and it's bad. And now it's like, okay, when it's wet, it's this beautiful texture, and you loving it. And I just know about the coconut oil. It helps heal and moisture for your hair. And I'm like, well, you just said that coconut oil does this and that. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I didn't even know. So I'm like, up tomorrow on the list. I got to go to Trader Joe's and stock up.
Absolutely.
And one of my sons have eczema, and I would like to also try it and see how it would work for his skin. And I search on YouTube a lot for, like, a lot of different stuff, because I found out, you know, most things that you want to know is on YouTube.
It is.
So they had a thing where they took raw shea butter, coconut oil, and a few other jojoba oil and almond oil and stuff like that, and they made, like, a lotion that could be for hair and body, and it didn't melt. It's very fluffy, and I was
Giovanni
like so shocked. Like, I want to try that for my son. You know, they have problems with their skin, especially how the weather changes, and you know, the stuff that they're putting in the water nowadays. You know, with their skin being so sensitive, it affects their skin. I just thank you guys. I did not know. You guys just bring forth so much information, and it's just like, you know, I pray at night, Lord, help me with this and this and this, and come Monday, I'm like, thank you. They just hit it on the nail.
We sure need the encouragement. We sure need it, because we're just starting. But you know what I wanted to throw out there? I know that we're all trying to be natural and live our lives the way the Most High would have us live, but I don't want, you know, to make some of the sisters that feel like they need to add a little enhancement to their hair and different things because of the damage or the curse that we're under. You know, we've been through a lot. Most of the time, our sisters are just trying to look normal again. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so they're adding in, you know, I know there are some of the, you know, sometimes they feel like, well, you know, we should not put on any kind of makeup. We shouldn't put on anything. But if our endeavor is to just look normal, some of the older sisters don't have any eyebrows anymore. We plucked them all out or whatever. Or some of the younger sisters, you know, because of eczema and different other types of ailments that we've been perplexed with and what have you, or those braids that have ripped out hair that people don't even have a hairline anymore. When you're not really trying to walk around looking like, well, who done it, you know? And so for the sisters that are getting a little something extra, in my opinion, they're not doing anything more than a gentleman making a shape to his mustache or, you know, and things of that nature. We're trying to stay beautiful and feel beautiful, because if we don't feel beautiful, we're not going to be able to treat others the way we need to. You know what I mean? And so I just didn't want to, you know, make anyone feel uncomfortable, because going natural could be a disaster for some that don't have the capability of being there because of things that have happened to us in the past. So be as natural as you possibly can, but if adding a little bit of something is going to make you look normal, then go ahead and do it, but you just don't want to look like Jezebel out there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Tasty done.
Yes, I understand exactly what you mean. Where I work, it's all women, and I work where we help women with mental disabilities. It's an institution.
That's beautiful.
So, you know, there's a group of girls that went natural, had shaved all their hair, basically.
Yes,
really, really
I've seen that too.
Curl it, and I'm like, I could never do that. I couldn't, but, you know.
Too drastic.
They're very strong women for doing it, and then there's women who,
they are.
You know, had, you know, weaves and wigs, and which is nothing wrong with it, because I was one of the queens of them, you know. So, but they were never, you know, for people who had questions, they were never down put. You know, it was more of an encouragement. They also helped me to just try it and just see. You know, you could always, you don't have to do this. You just try it and see. You know, you get to a stage where it's in between and you feel awkward, but just try it. You go put a perm back in if you don't like it and all. It was just so positive, because you hear so much negative when it comes to women and, you know, judging one another and stuff like that. So it was a very positive experience. And also on YouTube, for anybody else who maybe has thought about it, I suggest that they look and search it too. There's all different kind of information out there, and encouragement also for other women.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, sister. Really, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
I just wanted to know, you know, I support you sisters, and you guys are a blessing and a prayer answered. And just please keep up the good job, and I look forward to continue listening, and next Monday also.
Thank you so much. Okay. Shalom.
Okay, we have Sister Tracy. Sister Tracy, you're on.
Shalom. Hi, Sister Shirley. Hi, Sister Carol.
Hi. How you doing?
Very good. You know, you can probably hear me smile on the phone. I'm ecstatic to be able to fellowship with you all. We go way back, you know.
Yes.
And I'm finally blessed to be able to get into the queue. I caught the first show, and I was just, like, blown away by the testimony. I knew you had been through some stuff, but I didn't know it was that deep. So thank you for being transparent and sharing. I could hear how it helped so many other sisters be able to relate to, you know, your struggle. And I missed it last week because I forgot about it. And somebody reminded me this week, so I think my brain is getting used to Monday calls. So I just wanted to call. I didn't have a question. I just had, you know, comments, encouragement, support. Love what you're doing, and really everything you touched on, you know, you're all up in my mix. You know, starting with making, you know, the Sabbath of the light. I myself, you know, I'm a single woman, and it's amazing how everything that you're talking about is connecting for me, even as a single woman, because coming into the knowledge of the truth and being young and, you know, the new understanding and coming out of, you know, the church scenario, and just the way this world is built, it teaches us to be independent. You know, it steers us and veers us as women, you know, to not being the housewife, not taking care of our families and chasing after our dreams. You know, so in essence, I'm learning, you know, that to be reprogrammed into embracing, you know, what our role is as women. And in doing so, I'm learning that, you know, Ahaya is preparing me, you know, for marriage.
That
so I'm learning to take advantage of the opportunity, to cook for my parents, and one of the things that I think is good to note, but maybe for the single sisters to look at it from this perspective, is that, since we don't have, husbands and families to take care of, maybe it's best for us to be able to serve, others who have families and kids. And so, I'm learning to take advantage of the opportunity to be able to maybe do more than the average person could do.
That's true.
And so,
That's true.
yeah, so when it comes to preparing the meals, preparing the food, and, I look at it as an opportunity to serve and to be a blessing, and to help, mothers who may be more busy. And so also, we were talking about the anxiety and, women or wives dealing with, the role of their husband and allowing him to be the head of the household. That's something that, even me as a single woman, again, we've been taught to be strong. We've been taught to be in control. We're trained from little girls that you go up and you take control,
Absolutely.
and just the way the male is portrayed in the media, it's really something for us to have to veer away from. And the more that I study the Word, and the more that I'm hearing the teachings, and to hear, sisters like you, just share. It's not easy, and we struggle with it because we're we're being deprogrammed from the way that we've been for so long and the way we've been taught to be. But when you really embrace operating in the role that God designed from the beginning as a woman, and you start to do it, you start to see that, God, he had a purpose for this, and when everybody operates in order and plays their position, it works, wonderfully,
It's so true.
And the last thing I want to say, as far as the health and the diet, I mean, all up in my mix, it's such a big deal, Actually, Sister Shirley, Lisa, helped me with my transition that I'm making as far as my diet. And one of the first things she said to me, which I thought was, I didn't even think about it this way, but she was like, our appetite is, something that we are confronted with probably more than anything else in life. We deal with, making the choice as to what we put in our bodies 24 hours a day, and it's life or death because, as y'all were sharing, everything that we put in our body has a benefit or a consequence, and, even in talking about the water, I like to think that I hydrate myself a lot, but, it's really hard to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day consistently every day.
It sure is.
And a lot of people say, I drink my water. We don't drink 6 to 8 ounces, glasses of water every day.
And
we're
that's
honest
why.
with ourselves.
And that's why if you eat more, if your diet is more filled with liquids, you don't feel like, some kind of camel out there just trying to drink water. And so, and I know that the masses say to drink it at room temperature. Me, I like ice water, but, as you continue, you keep on, I've said this before, as you walk this walk, you continually take those grave clothes off. Because we're stumbling along right now, tied up in swaddling, in all those grave clothes,
Right.
And so as long as we keep on taking it off, the faster we get it off, the better, because then we can walk better. But, we definitely need to do that. And so and I was really, really thrilled to hear that you're, thinking about marriage, but I just want to tell our whole listening audience, marriage is not for the faint of heart. Marriage is really something that you have to be ready for. And many of us wondering why we're not married, why the Most High hasn't blessed us with a husband, and why we don't have a good mate or somebody that's at least dating or courting or trying to run behind us or something. And it sometimes behooves us to go out into the world and try to grab up a stray. But the thing about it is that, like you said, Tracy, we need preparation. A man should see you out there knowing how to serve, knowing how to help others, knowing how to care about people, because that's what's going to attract him to you, to see how you have the ability, because you are definitely going to be in a position, you're that second in command in your home. You know how hard that second in command really has to work? Because you really, and not to say that the first one, that the commander, because in my office, I am, in charge. And in my opinion, I work harder than anyone in there, because the scripture says, he that is the greatest among you is the servant of all, right? But as women, we need to learn how to be real busy, chase workers at home, helping others. So if a man sees you in the congregation or whoever it is, and you're doing all these things, it's an attraction. Now, certainly don't do that just to attract somebody. That has to become part of your heart, because when you get married, look out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to throw in another line in there that a lot of us marry to be happy, but I'm trying to find that in the scriptures. I'm not saying that we won't be happy. We're supposed to be happy trying to please the Most High, and that is to multiply and to replenish the earth and to fulfill that duty alongside that man as his helpmate, not to be able to walk down the street. I got my man, I spare it there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wanted to throw it in because I know that some of the reasons we get divorced is because I'm not happy anymore. She's not pleasing me in that respect.
Exactly.
And I know that is not why he pulled us together.
And it's like Sister Carol said, when you start trying to figure out, well, what is happiness? Happiness is doing the will of the Most High and helping others. That's what really makes you happy. You can kind of compare it to when you're taking care of a little baby, your brand new baby, and that baby, and you love that baby, and you're just doing so many things. And what is that baby really doing for you? Absolutely nothing. That baby is commanding attention. That baby is saying, get up in the middle of the night, I need something to drink. Change my diaper, do this, do that. And what do? We get up and we just hug that baby and love it. And that's the same kind of love we have to express to our husbands in our homes, with that same kind of fervor. Get up and know this is our place. Yeah, I love you, and this is why I'm doing this because I can. I can make you happy. I can make you comfortable. This is what we're called to do. And the world is going to look at that as if to say, you know what? She's insane.
The world wants to tell you that you're equal partners, and I've never seen any freakish animal with two heads. They have one head, period.
Exactly. But Sister Tracy, it's getting late. I think we only have a little bit more time, but we do have a couple of other people in the queue.
Yes.
So we want to say all
praises. Thank you all for what you're doing, and we will be listening every Monday. You're also extremely funny, and so that's, just it's enjoyable to hear you, and also the wisdom we're getting is beneficial. So I love you guys. God bless you, and shalom.
Thank you, shalom.
Okay.
Okay, we have Sister Danielle.
Hello, Sister Danielle.
Shalom, Sister Carol, Sister Shirley. How are you?
Shalom. How are you?
Shalom.
Good. Hang it in there. This might be a question for a psychiatrist or a situation for a psychiatrist.
Goodbye,
Lord. Ahead of time with this one. Oh, it kind of piggybacks on last week's conversation with the whole dress code for the women and then the marriage thing. But my problem is this. For one, getting in my age, I'm 40 years old. I've learned throughout the last 4 or 5 years that I no longer want to wear some of the stuff that I desired to wear at 18, 20 years old. Now, this happened,
wonderful.
I mean, it was years back when this started happening, praise the Most High. And so, even if you're going to look at my closet and I have old stuff, because you know how women we are, we sometimes between 3 different sizes kind of hold on to stuff we can't
You had to tell the business, right? You had to tell all the business. Go ahead.
Yes. And so even if you look at those clothes, you really can't find a lot of revealing things in those clothing. But I have a husband who is insanely, obsessed, I should say, about the dress thing. My thought about this with that is if you see me trying, and you really, really see me trying, I'm coming home and I'm showing you big oversized shirts, and some of them, I'm not going to lie, I don't like. It's just to kind of shut you up, Father, forgive me. But because like I said, I go back to, years, 5, 6, 7 years, I wasn't even wearing a bunch of revealing stuff. So even this is more of a downgrade, even still. So, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm coming home with big pants, with things that I'm a woman, and I'm an Israelite, so I got size. And I'm not a big person. I got size. I have a little, my behind is not humongous or anything, but I have a curve. Let's say that. There's not a lot of things that I can put, and I'm a size 18, so I'm not even that big. So it's not a lot of pants and things, because how they're making them now, that I put on and you don't see a little of my thighs or what have you. So the thing about that is that I put on a dress. And now, granted, the dress was like above my knees. It wasn't tight. You couldn't see anything. My husband about had a fit. What it was is he said, well, I don't think that's right. And I look, I'm like, okay, now what's wrong with this? I try not to get, too irate about it or what have you. But after searching and digging, and if your husband going with you, he complaining about everything, it's kind of like, okay, I'm like right there at the edge, and I'm going to go over now. Because it's kind of like I used to do him, stop eating the pork. And that was even before coming into the truth. My son, I had stopped eating it 17 years ago, because I just knew it wasn't good for us. And he was feeding it to my son. And something said, just leave him alone. Just don't be harassing him. And that was the Holy Spirit. Now I know what it is now. But back then I didn't. It was the Holy Spirit. And so I left it alone. And then when we came into the truth, that ceased. So I kind of tell him this, stop egging at me, because the Most High know when I go out, I'm trying. And you can't beat a person down and then expect them to follow suit. I mean, if the Most High knows that I'm trying to do good, go ahead.
Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend praying about this?
You know what? I used to pray about it, and I used to, now I get to where I thank them, because I believe that you should stop praying and start just thanking them for what you, faith is believing. So now I say, thank you for working with my husband. Thank you for working with me, and I walk away. But I get frustrated, because like today we got into an argument about the dress, and he was like, well, you didn't have to, because I said, I can't get on you about what you wear. You shouldn't get on me about what I wear. That's not how it goes, and you disrespect me. I'm like, okay, what did I say? And then he took it off from a 1 to a 10. He gets
Can I throw something in, Sister Danielle? Sister Danielle, can I throw something in for a second? If your boss told you this is the new dress code, what would you do?
I fall in line.
There you go.
Fall in line.
Absolutely.
You're not going to die. We're dressing to please our husbands, not the street.
Yes, we
so
are.
If he asks you for a simple change to it, it's not worth all of this. Do you sleep better because you stood up to him?
No, and
and see, and I
you
know,
know what,
but wait, Sister Danielle, I know. When you put that little dress on, you were looking pretty slick in it. I know that, and see, sometimes
it was not revealing. The only thing you see was my knees.
But remember one thing, the scripture says, when a man looks upon another woman and lusts after her, he's committed adultery. Now, are we dressing that may cause a man to do that? Try your best not to. And if your husband thinks that it is, maybe he's got a point. Because,
he's a man.
I know I told this story before that I used to study with a Jewish woman, and they have a literal dress code, a thing that says the collarbone can't show, the sleeves have to be covering the elbows. The dress must hit the middle of the leg, no higher. That's a straight up dress code. And they have stores that you can go in and get that particular type of length and collar treatment and so on. So if the elders in the church came up and said, this is the dress code for the sisters, we just got to fall in line. Ask your husband, come to the store with me, show me what you want me to buy, and let me try and see if I can live in this.
Wait, sister. You know, we don't want to discourage you or him, but you know, if there's any way, the scripture says to seek peace and pursue it. That means that it's not going to be simple. It's going to be a struggle for you to seek peace. And sometimes it's easier to just surrender and do something different than it is for you to fight that battle. Don't die on every hill. If this is not that, if it's not that critical to wear that kind of clothing, I know that maybe you can have something that's a little nicer, or you could just add a little piece of material to the bottom of that dress, a little lace or something to make it a little bit longer or whatever. And I know that, I don't know, sometimes men might want you to come out looking like you're wearing a burqa or what have you, but what they're really trying to do is they're trying to protect you, and they're trying to protect you, and they do want you to represent them. You know what I'm saying? They do want you to represent the spirit of your household and how you love the Most High. And I know that when you're walking down the street and you're getting, guys are looking. I mean, there's some of the women are walking down the street, and not only the guys looking, women are looking. Their heads are turning. Everybody's looking. So,
Your husband too, while your husband trying to cover you up, he's looking too. You like, okay, you trying to cover me up and put me in an all-black dress from my ankles, and you looking at somebody behind. So should I slap you?
No, I kind of understand.
It sounds like maybe he needs to speak on the elder program, on the program with the men calling. That's for him.
Yeah.
So we're not here to bash them.
Exactly.
So,
and what you got to do is, regardless to what your husband's doing, you never look at what someone else is doing based on, to determine as a barometer what you should be doing. Because when you get ready to stand before the Most High, He's not going to be standing there where you can say, well, it was him. When Adam blamed Eve, Adam certainly got his punishment. You understand?
Right.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Let me just throw one more scripture in there. The Word of God says, the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Yes.
What is the joy of the Lord? Seeing us do what's right. That should build you up. Think about it. I'm pleasing the Most High. That should make me feel wonderful. Whether or not I think that my neighbor thinks I look hot or whatever, I'm pleasing the Most High. And that's who you're reaching for.
Sister Daniel, I know we have, oh my goodness, we have 2 more callers in queue. Do you need any? We got 3 minutes left, I think. Sister Cherie, how much time do we have?
We have about 2 minutes left.
Goodness.
Thank you.
Sister Danielle, all praises to His name. Call back again, and we can go through a little bit more. Okay.
Okay.
And before you bring in the next call, I just want to add that we created an email for some of the sisters, and it's called, what is the name of our program? Restoring the Daughters of Zion at gmail.com. So, if you want any of the materials that we have, we'll send them to you.
Okay, Sister Cherie, could you bring in that next caller?
Sure. We have
Uh-oh,
Sister
it's
Shirley.
too late. We're cutting it out. I hear the song coming on now. Oh, my goodness, we lost time. 90 seconds. Sister Charlotte, are you there? It's too late. We're off the air. All praises to the Most High God. We'll see you guys again next Monday, and hopefully we can get in more callers. Carol, you want to say anything?
Oh, no. Thank you so much for calling in. It's been wonderful. See you Monday.
Shalom.
Shema.